Good evening, welcome to FMA Discussion. This is episode 497, and tonight we will be featuring both Jason Schultz and David Carr. They're going to be talking about what they got planned coming up, a collaboration of sorts, and we're going to hear about it. But before we get into that, in case those who don't know or might not know or have heard, we're going to see what they've been doing during their martial arts journey up to this point. So without further ado, we have Jason Schultz and David Carr. Unfortunately, Jason's got something on his camera. We'll be able to hear him, but unfortunately, we won't be able to see him. Awesome. Hey, guys.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good, good. So,
Jason's having a bad headache, I think.
yeah. So this
Oh,
is first for David. So, so Dave, when you hear the Blue Oyster Bar, what does that mean to you? I mean, is it?
Yeah, that was a great meme. That was a really good meme. For those who aren't familiar, if you want to send me a friend request, I make awesome memes of Dean and everybody else.
Yes, and they are freaking so funny. Those things are freaking great, man. Those are classics. I know, and the ones with Jason, and those are funny. So
I actually have a Facebook page dedicated to memes just that I've made up,
I
Jason.
think you should. I think you would get a lot of traction. Yeah. So
I get no respect.
I'm telling you. So hey, did you guys? So Jason, the Blue Oyster Bar, significance or?
Oh, huge significance. That's where I first laid my eyes upon that skinny British twink over there.
Yeah, I didn't want to give away the punchline to the audience, but I thought that's where you guys met. Okay, okay.
Jason and I, we collaborate on OnlyFans.
Yes. Wow, too funny. So, okay, let's jump into it. So, Dave, okay, martial arts journey to status quo.
Okay, so began in 1989. A couple of brothers, neighbors of mine, actually. I was encouraged by my parents to go and learn something to defend myself. Scrawny guy, always been a small on the smaller side. So yeah, I was around April 1989, introduced to Goju Ryu. Hated it, absolutely hated it initially. It was a slow burn for me. Spent a good number of years in Goju before moving on to Thai boxing, from Thai boxing to capoeira. But my things didn't really become serious for me until the early 2000s, around 2002. A friend of mine invited me to come along to go and learn Jeet Kune Do. And at that point, I'd never even heard of Jeet Kune Do, in all honesty. But I thought, I'd tag along just to keep him company. And he quit after about 3 weeks. And 14 years later, I was still there up until my teacher sadly passed away. Then I became somewhat of a journeyman for a number of years. As of today, currently studying Savat. Been doing that for a couple of weeks. But I've always had an interest in Savat. Went to a Salem Astley seminar back in the early 2000s, and that sort of really, I thought I could get my teeth into that a little bit. And that sort of brings us up to date. In between, studied Kabuto, Tonfa Jutsu, Tanto Jutsu, dabbled with BJJ, grappling arts, Hojo Jutsu. A number of research projects have taken me to the martial arts of India. I authored 2 books on the use and application, the history of the Qatar and the punch dagger. That's pretty much it, really. I could do plenty of stories in between. Spent some time in Indonesia and the Philippines, trained under Iman Sharif and Haji Tamajalan in methods of Silat from Mindanao. Spent a lot of time there. I've had a good run so far.
Wow, the sea lion in Mindanao. So that'd be fascinating.
Then I met Jason, and things just been going downhill ever since. So.
Yeah, I've been doing it with Burton, and Yeah, I mean, thus far, I really enjoy it. And there, so wow. And then JKD, obviously. So, dose of Asano blend, I'm assuming, as far as that.
Yeah, Magda Institute, via Cas Magda. Yeah, it was good. Good time. I mean, I followed the curriculum that the academy that I was studying at. I followed that curriculum for the first year or so before really focusing on the Silat. That was sort of where my passion was back then. I've been very fortunate, very, very fortunate.
Wow, wow. What other FMA systems besides the Asano blend? You said Heron?
So we had Garon, we had Villabril, um,
Villarreal, yeah,
a
yeah.
little bit of we have some Sam Tendencia stuff as well, all blended into that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, because Cass was big into the Villarreal and that. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
I just know from the Americans here, those I've had on the show that has some cross ties with him. So,
Yeah.
Um, Sir Jason. So, case those who might not know, so your martial arts background.
Oh, goodness. All right. So, wrestled a little bit as a child. Got into judo as an after school program when I was maybe 10, 11. Started Shorin-ryu karate at 12. Went from Shorin-ryu, achieved my Shodan, left there for a little bit, came back, quit before my Nidon test due to politics. Went to MMA. MMA exposed me to Western boxing, Thai boxing, catch wrestling, and BJJ. Now, I had had the grappling experience from the Shorin-ryu because my instructor traveled a lot back and forth between Okinawa and the States
Mm.
from the time he was in the Navy. And he was able to pick up the old school Tagumi, the Okinawan wrestling. So he incorporated that into our Shorin-ryu along with, he was an early adopter of BJJ. He was actually studying it 2 years before the first UFC, and then after UFC, hit, everyone was asking him about it, so he decided to then bring that in also with the curriculum, blending that with Tadagumi. So when I went to the MMA gym, they exposed me to the catch wrestling, and
Mm.
I tied the catch wrestling in with the Tagumi and the BJJ. From there, I realized I didn't want to compete. But I wanted to still train, and I wanted something that would be useful outside, wherever I'm going. And that's what brought me to the World War II combatives. And the World War II combatives has brought me to just all around dirty fighting.
Mm. Wow, wow. Hey, speak on that Okinawan grappling. That's I've never heard that before. Like some good stuff.
Yeah, grappling is grappling is grappling. It's all essentially the same philosophy of grab a hold of something and squeeze it until the other guy is done. Either choke them, you grab a limb and you break it, one or the other.
Nice, nice. And 91, so he started BJJ before 93. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. We got Be Truthful, Jason. You started off by mauling kindergarten brats.
that is true.
Michael Blackery. We got Chris Anderson, Kevin Cooper. Yes, folks, if you're watching, tell us where you're watching from. Smash that like button. Catch, yeah, definitely have heard that. I mean, you speak on that. I know you like that. And then obviously the WW2 combatives. Now, are you both? Let's go back to here to David. Are you actively teaching now?
Yeah, we do. I still teach Medusa. I also teach workshops in Shibari, believe it or not.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you do with those workshops?
I teach them at a it's not something I talk about very often. I teach them at a BDSM club. But that stemmed from my training in Hojo Jutsu primarily. I spent quite a long time researching Hojo Jutsu, which is like the tying and binding arts of the samurai.
Wow, I'm telling you, man, some of these arts I just man. And Michael saying I trained Gojo to my Nidan and was amazed at the grappling that was embedded in the. Wow, that is just would have never. Wow,
Yeah,
fascinating.
it's something that once karate became Americanized, they took it as just a stand-up art. Karate
Okay.
is not a stand-up art.
You know,
It's an all-around combative system.
How sad, huh? That they left that stuff out for the
Yeah.
commercialization of right in America. Wow.
Well, you got to remember at the time, a lot of the karate was being studied by GIs after
Mm,
World War II. They didn't have the time to invest in all that training that you would need to for both stand-up and grappling. And then you had the Okinawans didn't want to share everything with the Westerners. So
mm,
then you had things like Ishinru developed, which was originally, it was originally coined GI karate because that's what they would teach the GIs
okay.
because it was more realistic than what was being passed off as karate at the time. And they were combat vets and they would be able to pick up on the bullshit.
Ah, okay. Interesting.
Shito Ryu from Okinawa, that's considered um, one of the original forms of MMA. That's one of the earlier. That's sort of it's dirty fighting, and that incorporates a lot of stand-up, a lot of grappling, a lot of throwing techniques, which you wouldn't associate with karate normally. That's
I would
Shito.
not till hearing this, to be honest with you. And this is where again? I'm sorry. And this is what style?
That's Shito Ryu from that's Okinawa again. Little interesting side note about Shito Ryu. Um, uh, there's actually elements of ninjutsu hidden within the Jojutsu curriculum of Shito Ryu. Very little known fact. There. Fujita Seiko trained with one of the founders of Shito Ryu, and in sort of a knowledge exchange, um, Fujita Seiko taught elements of the Koga and Iga Ryu methods of ninjutsu to, as I said, the founder of Shito Ryu, and he incorporated it, or shall we say, hidden those methods within the Jojutsu portions of Shito Ryu. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's too bad. So is anybody keeping this alive still? I mean,
Yeah, well, Shito Ryu is still out. There was a group called I don't know what they're doing lately because they haven't posted anything in a long time. But there was a channel on YouTube called Karate Culture, and they show a lot of this stuff on that. A lot of their stuff comes from Shito Ryu, and a lot of their videos are actually titled things like Okinawa Karate, the original dirty fighting method. And I'd highly recommend to people go and check those videos out. I'll show you exactly what karate should look like. So I
wow,
think
what was the YouTube? What was the channel again?
Karate Culture.
Karate Culture.
Yeah,
Okay.
they had an academy in Texas at one time, but I don't really know what happened to those guys. They just sort of randomly just stopped posting.
Oh, it's too bad.
No,
But they actually showed the true application of karate. So when you think about karate, a lot of people will look at karate and think, it's very rigid, and it gets a lot of shit. But they actually show the true application of how karate should be applied, and that's a lot of where Jason also shows the application of those methods.
That's
Definitely,
fascinating, man.
definitely.
Let me get Michael Black. If you look at the Senjin Kata, it's all about grabbing,
yep,
shooting, turning, and hitting. Okay.
yep. So building off of what Mike is saying, when
Yeah.
you look at Okinawan katas
Okay.
and you pay attention to the hands, if the hands are open, it would normally be a grab or stand-up grappling. Only when the hands are closed is it a strike.
Okay.
So you'll see a lot of throws. Anytime you see open hands in a turn, it's generally a throw.
That's a throw. Okay. All right. That makes sense when they're turning. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. 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 That's too bad.
One of the things about Fujita Seiko that David actually taught me was that he went to Europe during World War II, and he actually tested out his methodologies on prisoners of war to see what actually would happen to these people when you employed his techniques on them. So you had Fairbairn, who had a bunch of street fights,
Yeah.
and he was very high on himself. And then on the other side, you have Fujita Seiko, who was legitimately trying to kill people with his bare hands just to verify that his techniques worked.
Wow. Those prisoners. Oh my God,
Yeah.
like it wasn't bad enough, man. Yeah.
Seiko was a consultant at the Nakano spy school during World War II in Japan. Mori Yoshiba, the founder of Aikido, was actually one of the instructors there also. He mostly taught, Yoshiba mostly taught Jukendo and Jukenjutsu, which was the use of the bayonet originally. But yeah, Fujita Seiko went to France. And if you can actually find a copy of the Nakano the Nakano school curriculum of what they actually taught, and most of that is very much karate-esque. A lot of traditional karate blows and strikes are in that curriculum. And as Jason said, Fujita Seiko went to France and he was testing these strikes on POWs. Yeah, that curriculum is available to find online as a PDF.
There's a PDF of that online. Wow.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Carl Sestari also touched on it as well, very briefly.
Carl Starry. Okay. Chris is asking, talk about Seiko and Kawashi. I'm sure I'm doing an abomination on that name.
Oh, Kawaishi, yeah. Yep. I don't know what exactly their link was. I know Chris has spoken about it in the past.
Okay. Well, maybe he'll go. Okay. Yeah. And Michael Blacker, Yagaguchi as well from Goju Kai. Okay. Wow. Interesting, man. Like I would have never. Wow. I mean, never knew that about. I mean, I knew karate had throws, but not to the magnitude of what your guys are saying, or that now it was removed for various reasons, etc.
Yeah. Yep. You gotta remember, it's all based off of what Bushi Matsumura and his instructors were training. And they were the ones who were, indebted to protect the Ryukyu Kingdom from invaders.
Mm-hmm.
So it had to work at some point.
Yeah, something had to work. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It goes right back centuries. If you look at the history and origins of sumo, that came from a method called tigoi, which is considered probably as the oldest documented method of martial arts that came from Japan and Okinawa. That would be tigoi. And that eventually evolved into what we know as sumo. Again, a grappling art. But traditionally, tigoi or sumo was very much a military type art, which was primarily all grappling with no strikes.
And there was sumo, so there was a pre-sumo that was just originally designed for military. Now, as we're seeing it, sport. Okay, wow. Even Shotokan has throws.
Yep.
Gichin Funakoshi has a syllabus just on throws.
Destroyed leg to the ground, then pound the shit out of people. That was Higamon's and Sensei's work. Interesting. So what happened with sumo then? After it was a military thing, it just got westernized sport, or just
it was used to train. They started to use it to train samurai, and then they added the rules and became more of a samurai. So it's like a ceremony type thing. And it evolved into a sport, and that's sort of what it is today.
Yeah, originally though military. So did all these have? So this could be a question for both of you.
Centuries and centuries ago, it's evolved over centuries.
Yeah. So what was the tie to the samurai to all this stuff? As far as I guess Okinawa and Japan is
concerned, a way to train. It was a way to train Bushi, a way to train the early warriors, the early samurai warriors.
Thoughts on, here we go from Seth. Thoughts on Motobu Karate One Kata, Seth?
Yeah, Choki Matobu was the man.
Yeah.
He would fight anybody. He embarrassed Funakoshi at his own school, I think 3 times in one night.
Wow.
And yeah, he would fight anybody. He was a brawler. He wasn't a martial artist. He wanted to go out and prove that his stuff worked, that he was the best system on Okinawa. and all they did was, I think their primary kata was Nahachi.
And this man, I just wonder. It's too bad that, with the exception of the channel that they referenced, the karate culture, and that school maybe in Texas that seems to have gone. If anybody's keeping this, anybody over there, are they keeping it alive over there? Japan, any of this? I mean,
It's in the you can still find it. There are still people out there who are still teaching pure original karate. Yeah, for sure.
okay. You just got to go there. Okay. All right. Wow.
I
So,
think like Shito Ryu is quite common, quite popular method of Okinawa karate. So there are dojos all
they're
throughout.
still over in okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So how'd you guys meet? So was it through Medusa?
No, we go back a long time, longer than we actually have been friends.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. Okay.
You want to take this?
I can't think of what year it would have been.
So let's say 10 years ago.
Mm.
All right, so maybe a decade ago. David and I were both parts of Don Rearick's Warren. Now, for those of you who don't know who Don Rearick is, he was essentially Terry Trahan's partner in crime for the longest time. Don Rearick and Terry Trahan are the ones who brought forth and popularized the ideas of non-permissive environments and bringing weapons into them, lock picking, dirty fighting, utilizing an edged weapon in unconventional means. So there's a lot of people out there right now who have picked from their tree and given them absolutely no acknowledgement.
Which is, I hate when that happens.
Yeah. So David and I met in the Warren a number of years ago, but it was only when I got onto Instagram that we actually connected on a personal level, and I didn't even know who he was initially. And then I disappeared from Instagram, and when I came back, he was the first person to message me, and he was glad that I came back.
Mm.
And from that point on, we've just been building. Like, this seminar that's coming up is only the first thing in many things that we have in the fire.
Wow. So, wow, what from you guys being so up to this point, obviously you guys got commonality as far as mindsets and what you're training. But
Yep.
so you guys haven't officially met in person yet?
No.
Okay. And so I guess scumbag
Jitsu.
So is this fair to say this is kind of your guys' collaboration, the name of it?
We refer to ourselves as scumbags a lot.
Yeah.
We do scumbaggy things, and not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. It's not like we're out robbing people.
Right.
But if it came down to it in a physical altercation, I know that he would do just about everything, if not more, that I would do in a physical confrontation to protect myself.
Right.
I often tell people that this is my disguise.
Yeah.
That's the disguise. And it all started at the Blue Oyster Bar.
It did. So essentially what we're trying to do is we're trying to build off of what Don and Terry started with giving them full attribution. We wouldn't be where we are today. We wouldn't know each other if it weren't for those two men.
Okay. Are they still working together?
No.
Okay.
No. But they're both absolutely solid individuals.
Mm.
I've really never heard Terry say anything bad about anybody.
Right.
I've never really heard Don say anything bad about anybody either, but I know Don is a little bit more short-tempered with people's behavior, so he's quicker to cut people off.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
for sure.
Yeah.
So what was the time frame when these guys were doing their thing, or kind of entrepreneurs, so to speak, or new on the block, or just innovators for that matter, trendsetters?
To Blade Forums. all the way back in the dark
Yeah.
ages of this community from Blade forums. There were moderators on Blade forums and
Blade
self-defense
forums,
forums also.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they were talking about a lot of the threads that they began were all about a lot of these subjects that we see now, and a lot of people assume are brand new ideas, and in actual fact they aren't. They're just rehashed ideas what Don and Terry originally came up with. Don was talking about training in low light, probably 15 years before anybody else thought about talking about low light training with flashlights and with a blade. So a lot of things you're seeing now were just rehashed from their original ideas. Things like Jake, there's no credit given. No credit given at all.
Yeah. No, I'll even say, like, there's somebody out in the community right now who acts like he's an authority on the SAP and the use of a SAP. He learned how to use the SAP in Terry's living room. When Terry handed him SAP, he said, "How do I hold this?"
Wow, I think I know what you're talking about.
I'm not going to name names, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
these people are quick to lift ideas and quick to lift techniques and quick to lift things from everybody else and claim it as their own without giving any attribution.
I know that's just, yeah, that's a really big pet peeve of mine. I mean,
Yeah, so the whole scumbag thing is also a little poke at those people.
Okay. I'm just writing myself a note to see if I'm right on the person I think it is for you later. Okay. He's Michael, but he's a prick. So these two, okay, so obviously trendsetters in there, and you guys are basically not so much picking off where they left, but giving them their due credit while continuing their work. Is that fair?
Yeah, well, we've both been mentored by both of them.
Okay.
We're close friends with both of them, and who better to pick up and go if no one else is going to do it? If no one else is going to keep the fire going.
Yeah.
David and I are hungry enough to do this. We got nothing else going on, like we both obsess over this type of thing.
Yeah, this has been decades in the making. Decades.
Wow. So I don't want to give too much away, but whatever you guys are willing to share as far as your collaboration. So it sounds like you guys have been playing this, and to get it finally going, where you guys obviously can get in the same room. Sounds like March 225, right?
Yep, March 8th, 225 to Hartsdale, New York.
The
914 Training Center. Thank you, Nick Merchant.
Oh, Nick's. I was gonna say when you said Hartsdale, I'm like, wait a minute, that's so
yeah, man. Yep.
All right. Yeah. Oh, okay.
And it's going to be, the facility is a nice size facility, but we are going to have to cap off attendance. So if people want to get in, they're going to have to get in early.
Yeah, it is not right, but between the bags and everything else, right? Yeah, you're going to have to watch the numbers for sure. Yeah.
But thankfully, what we're going to be focusing on isn't going to require a whole lot of room, and the bags will help to mimic, crowded hallways, rooms, so it'll help with the instruction.
Right. So the collaboration between you two, so it's not obviously multi-dimensional as far as influence, systems, background, experience, right? I mean, so it's obviously going to be a blend of what? Catch wrestling, WWE combatives. What else is going to be in there?
Everything and anything under the sun that'll hurt somebody.
Okay, so nothing. Not limited.
No, so nothing that's going to link back to a specific thing. It's more concept based, unless there's like a specific technique or something.
Okay.
But what had initially triggered this in my head, one of the last times I talked to Kelly McCann, he mentioned that, in his opinion, there's no such thing as women's self-defense. Women's self-defense is a marketing tool, because if there was a women's self-defense system that would make a woman physically capable of fighting off a man, everybody would be training that. So theoretically, you could say that what we are teaching at this seminar would make a woman capable of fighting off a man. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay. Well, that's interesting, because I'm not crazy about the current industry as far as women's self-defense. I know people have they have they're some are putting their best foot forward. I'm sure they got
Mhm.
great intentions,
Yeah.
pure intentions, but it just seems incredibly outdated based on what these women think are going to leave in a 2 hour session,
Right.
and they're going to be able to defend themselves, by two. I just with a bunch of techniques that they're not going to remember, and they're sure not going to practice what they can't remember.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think it's interesting, interesting. What Okay, so what say you on this so far, Dave? You excited? What's going on?
Very
Are
much
you
so. Yeah.
so yeah?
Just to further from what Jason said, it's going to be a lot of less is more.
Less
Yeah.
is more like that.
Less is more.
A lot of technical detail. I think if people are expecting 6 hours worth of back-to-back techniques, then it might not be the type of seminar for them. We're going to be using usable concepts, usable principles that you can apply to.
Oh, I
to
love that. I love concepts like that. Yeah, I'm not a collector, so
No.
yeah. So
if you're
that
looking
seems
to collect,
yeah.
if attendees are looking to collect techniques, then it might not be.
Okay, so tactic based, concept
Mhm.
based.
Concept based, principle based.
I love it. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
that's right up my alley. Yeah.
Yeah. So this way, you don't need to be of a certain body type, a certain athletic ability. You don't need to
Mm,
be a certain size. If you can embrace these principles, you'll be able to employ the technique or the
mm,
tactic.
okay. And so, and there'll be no weapons, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
No,
you never know. You never know.
I'm just kidding. It'll be weapon free. No.
That was one or
um,
two.
what's, um, so okay. Uh, I know. I know you can't. You don't want to give a lot away.
Mhm.
In there, and so you kind of outline what's in there underneath everything underneath the sun. So we're talking about, obviously stand up,
Yeah,
clinch, down.
there'll be stand up, there'll be strikes, there'll be types of grappling, there'll be grasps, grips. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's gonna there's gonna be a lot for people to absorb, but
Mm,
not an endless series of techniques. People will
right.
need a notebook,
Okay. Okay.
but it's not going to be muddied with details and just us rambling.
Mm,
Us getting up. Oh, we got a room of people listening to us. It's our time now. No, no. If it's not going to help further somebody's journey, it's got no time being on the floor.
wow. So with this collaboration, is this going to be? I guess I hate to use sometimes the overused word is system.
Mhm.
Matter of fact, that's why I avoid it with Blade Tech because just again the overuse of it. So, but with that being said,
Mhm.
is this going to be though some type of a semblance of like tactics where it can be obviously not only shared with individuals, but individuals can seek growth in it and seek you guys out for continuation?
I mean, they could. This is more or less just like a one-time thing, like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to pick our brains on certain things.
Okay.
But as far as the system goes, David and I, neither of us have really interest in a system per se.
Mm,
We're getting an organization up off the ground, like
okay.
a mutual assistance group, you could say,
Mm,
called the Miracle Violence Collective, where
miracle.
it's David and I. We've got a couple of other people we've invited in. We have Dirty Mike Leather, who's building stuff. A couple of practitioners, a couple of teachers. We're just growing slowly from the ground up. Whoever we think is, worth being a part of this, whoever we think we can build with, whoever we think can offer something to the community, that's not just about them and furthering their initiative.
Mm,
That's what we're looking for. We're looking for people that are about the we and not the me.
right, right. Okay. And this is Miracle Violence Collective.
Yep. Yeah,
Interesting.
to
And
play on the old tag team, the Miracle Violence Collection.
okay, and this is more the organization.
Yeah.
Okay, and so what would be the goal of the organization with you guys?
We want to provide a clearinghouse to people to keep them away from piece of shit instructors, cult leaders, things like that.
Okay.
And we want to be able to provide people with good makers that are reliable and aren't, upcharging because something's popular.
Okay, so kind of a safe haven, so to speak, where folks can go there, get good advice,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
basically on numerous things. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
If the way we see it is, if we don't know the answer, we'll put you in the right place to find the
Yeah,
answer.
I did it right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because we
Okay.
don't know everything, and we admit that we don't know everything.
Sure, like all of us. I mean, sure. So is there going to be like kind of a website, a whole, or
Um,
more of a group setting or something?
Probably a group setting at some point.
Yeah.
I have a Discord set up that, the members are allowed to join. I have a private channel on there that we can talk in and come up with ideas, set plans. But it's really just growing from there right now. It's really grassroots, just ground up.
Yeah, Discord, I
But
tell you,
there
man.
are already some really good conversations going on in there.
Yeah.
Concerning
On the Discord already? Oh, good.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
so,
wow. It sounds, I tell you, it sounds healthy in so many regards. I mean, just, um, it, the problem with social media, as well as you guys know, is that, let's just say, for example, I joined FMA discussion. I want to get into FMA. And so you put a query out there,
Yep.
right? And then, and you're going to get the bigger, of course, the bigger names. And not that means I'm not saying the bigger names are all bad, but,
Right.
they're going to be steered towards, who popularity and et cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
Whereas folks who go to you guys, and you guys can kind of it won't be based really on popularity, but more or less folks that you experienced and such.
Yeah. Because the way I look at it, like David and I both have skeletons in our closet. We both have histories. Until I grew up, I was a piece of shit. I was a hood rat. I was running the streets. My first job at 13 was breaking down trucks for a crime family so they could smuggle the parts into Canada. And
those crime families, man, huh?
Yeah, I tell you, my neighbor ended up getting arrested, and he was only under house arrest for like 3 years for it.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Those crime families that end in a vowel, huh?
Yeah, exactly. The type, Dean Franco.
You know what I mean?
I got a guy.
The guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know. I think it's really compelling what you guys are doing. I mean, so you got the name Scumbag Jiu-Jitsu, as far as your guys' collaboration march. Then you got this organization, Miracle Violence Collective. So all right? So you guys alluded to more. So your first, obviously, march.
Yep.
So is it something that you guys want to do, but it'll be a different theme per se, or?
Yeah, the next thing we do will be different than the first.
Okay, so
I want to get over to England after he comes here in March. I want to go over there next time.
Okay.
And get kicked out of the country.
You were banned.
I'm going to microwave some tea.
I just wonder if they have a blue oyster over there, but I don't know.
Of course they do.
We have time to find out. Yes, Dave can look. Or something equivalent. I mean, London's got to have something. But, so you guys got, all right. So March, which I'm sure is going to be obviously a success.
Yeah, people are booking already. They know what's coming.
Yeah, I got it. Matter of fact, speaking of which, I gotta write this down. I have to book it.
Yep.
Book event.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, if you're interested in coming down, the seminar is going to be in Hartsdale, New York, on March 8th, 2025, from 12:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., and then you can buy us dinner afterwards.
Yes, emphasis on that. Yes.
You got to bring your own whiskey.
Yeah. Oh man. So wow. Okay. So All right, your guys' goal. So after March, the hopeful goal is that okay, you're going to go to England and then kind of back and forth, just keep going with kind of doing it
With the
together.
England, we're actually planning on going up to the Snake Pit in Wigan to do get some accreditation in catch wrestling,
Yeah.
which would be fun. Yeah.
Where's that? I'm sorry. Where's that now?
In Wigan, over in the UK. That's where Billy
Yeah.
Riley's snake pit was. Or
Oh,
is. The snake pit is still there. Billy Riley isn't, but
okay. So that's a notorious or well-known. Just
that's essentially the home of Lancashire style catch wrestling.
Yeah, it's sort of the
Yeah.
Mecca of Lancashire.
It's
nice.
where Billy Robinson trained out of. Carl Gotch trained out of there.
Carl. Okay, yeah, Carl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's a name right there. Wow, wow. So you guys got to, man. So obviously that's running strong over there.
It's growing. It's
Yeah.
growing.
Strong.
And it deserves to. People say BJJ is a good self-defense system. I tried the Gracie Combatives program and it was bullshit. Give me a couple of weeks of catch wrestling just to get it, familiar with it, and I would give that to anybody over BJJ. I think it's got more of the mindset. It's more aggressive. People like to play jiu-jitsu like it's a chess match.
Yeah.
You can't chess match with an attacker. You got to power through them. You got to take them out.
Yeah, the whole sport, the sport culture of it. I mean, I hear the combatives. There's some stuff in there that wasn't the best. I've heard that from a few folks.
Yeah.
But I've heard nothing but great things about catch.
Yeah. So long as you have a good coach, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, yeah, wow. And then, so what else is shaking? So, as far as individually speaking with you guys, I mean, I know you guys got this collaboration coming up, but anything individually speaking?
Right now, I'm focused primarily on Savat on an individual basis. Savat's sort of my focus right now.
Really, I mean, I got a little bit through. I came to my JKD lineage was Vunak, and definitely, was exposed to it. I'm not saying deeply, but definitely was exposed to it. And so, and you're doing it heavily over there, yeah?
Just beginning to. Yeah, for those who follow me on Instagram, you'll see that a lot of my posts are Savat, connected to Savat or related to Savat. Researching a lot of the old manuals, trying to find the little bits and pieces that others will have or may have overlooked. In regards to strategy and power generation, particularly.
Yeah, well, I've heard. I mean, it seems like it. It's funny. I've heard brought people. Some more and more people are revisiting it. You know what I mean? Which I think is neat. You know what I mean? Wow. And so who's the teacher over there? Because I mean, with the unfortunate passing of the leader there, who's running it now?
I'm currently studying under James Stewart, which is London Savat.
James Stewart? That name sounds familiar, right? He's part of the crew, isn't he?
That's a different James Stewart. But yeah.
Okay. That's it. Okay, I was gonna say James. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. What about FMA? What are you doing in that?
I haven't touched it since my teacher died. In all honesty, the last real thing I did with the FMA stuff was I competed in full contact minimum armor stick fighting. That was around 2010. Since then, I haven't really dabbled a whole lot with the FMA.
It's so funny. It's ironic because I do have my discussion, but starting to, and I don't think it was intentional or conscious, or maybe it was, and I just didn't realize it, but I am kind of drifting away because Play Tech is not FMA. I mean, there's some in it, I'm not going to lie. But and of course, Medusa and Piper, I mean, those things kind of speak for themselves. But yeah, interesting. What else? Okay, so you got Savat going, and what else you doing?
That's pretty much it up to now, right now. For me, I tend to take on research projects, as Jason knows. I'll dive in deep with a particular subject, absorb everything I possibly can, and then I'll move on to something else a little later on. So over the years, I spent a couple of years with Hojo Jutsu, then I switched over to the Indian martial arts, the Qatar Punch Dagger for a little while. Right now, I'm looking at, as I said, this that stuff, defense dance, la rue, some of the old French bare-knuckle boxing methods, and some of the English boxing that the French began to incorporate into Savat really early on, around 1880. Some of the very early English boxing influences there as well.
Interesting. Wow, wow, wow. And Jason, what
And
about you? So,
some of that flavor I will be bringing into the seminar in March.
oh, nice, nice. What about you, Jason? What are you actively training in?
Primarily teaching. Training, I'm still doing my thing. Mostly the rough and tumble type dirty fighting. Backing off of the World War II stuff as a whole, backing off Medusa as a whole. Yeah, I'm letting Medusa carry itself right now. Seems to still be doing pretty well.
I think so. Yeah.
I'm writing a little bit, but primarily I'm trying to get out there and teach more, and just continue working, continue planning for March.
Yeah, you should definitely get out there and teach more. Yeah, I mean, which is obviously you're doing. We got a question here from Mike Raymond, which I believe I'm assuming said. Dave, your thoughts on Gatka?
Gatka, yeah. It's a good question. I think Gatka is more of a ceremonial interpretation of the Indian arts. It's a lot more modern than the original methods of Kalari Piatu. So I think when you see a lot of Gatka, especially in this country where you have quite a large Sikh community here in the UK, it's used a lot in ceremonies. A lot of Sikh festivals have Gatka demonstrations. In terms of actual practical application, I think there are better out there. Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. I think it's more of a ceremonial thing nowadays.
What else? What other ones did you? What Indian arts did you train in or study?
Primarily, my research project at the time was primarily the Qatar, which is a type of punch dagger. So I delved quite deep into that. But with Indian arts, if you're interested in Indian arts, the best place to look would be Sanantar, Shastar Vidya. That's sort of where I began. I looked at that first, and they teach a whole host of weaponry as well as unarmed combat. Probably a really good place to start if you're interested in Indian martial arts. Would be Shastar.
Okay. Okay.
That was the original Sikh method of warfare.
Yeah, it's interesting. If to make it smoothly, in my perception, the only truth from what she is accepted pain through passion. Jiffy's no way. I'm just making sure I'm not missing any questions here. We got there. So what? Okay, arts that you would like to future pursue, Dave. Assuming there was time, interest, and etc.
Okay, so if I was going to, okay, that's a good question. So my next stop will be probably La Lutte, which is the French or Parisian wrestling. I have looked at it a little bit, but I would like to dive into that a little bit more. But after that, at this point, I think it might be a little bit too far ahead for me to decide. But La Lutte, or at least Parisian wrestling, would be
Parisian wrestling. I never even heard that. Wow. Okay.
That would be my next stop after Savat. Yeah.
Does it kind of any correlation to Savat or completely separate?
It's very much like trying to think of like Greco. It's like Greco-Roman wrestling type thing. Yeah.
With it just a Parisian flair to it. Okay. Wow.
You have to wear a handkerchief around your neck. And a beret.
And a beret. Uh-oh. And that famous bar. My gosh, that will really come into play. So, Jay, time, interest, if those were there, what would you pursue?
I would just, go deeper into what I'm doing. I would find, new coaches. I would find more people to mesh with. I would just find more expressions of what I currently do. See if there's a better way to do it
Mm-hmm.
rather than go out and learn something completely different right now.
Yeah, right. Any
You know what
interesting
I would really want to go and train with Mike Blackgrave. I think that would
Yeah.
be an experience.
Mike Blackgrave? Yeah,
Yep. A week or two down in Texas. Hell yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Any interest in Gilma? That's a question came from Seth or Mike. And
Interesting glimmer?
any interest in
Glima?
Gilma?
No.
Glima? No, I wouldn't. No, I've read books about it. But
What is it? I'm curious.
it's
Norse wrestling, essentially.
yeah.
Like Viking wrestling. They tried to make a resurgence a little while back.
Okay. So nothing there. Okay.
No.
I wouldn't. No, there's nothing there. No, I've looked at it. There's
Nothing that was appealing. Okay. All right. Wow.
No, like with catch wrestling, you've got the hooks built in. All you need to do is isolate the limb and wrench it, break it, bend it in the wrong way. It's not about, lifting someone, throwing them outside of a circle. It's breaking your attacker.
Yeah, right. Okay.
That's the bottom line. I'm not here for sports. I'm not here to compete.
Mm.
I want to get home. However, I have to get home. If I have to cross the street and take a different direction, I'll do that. If I can't do that and I got to fuck someone up, I'll do that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely on the getting home part, right?
Yeah.
Wow. So, all right, let's, for the folks who are just jumping in. So March 8th. And what's the cost for the sign up?
It's $150, and they can contact me on Instagram at coltsfoot_DCD, and I'll give them the payment information.
Okay. And
COLTSFOOT_DCD.
Okay. And everything's on there on the flyer, right?
Yep.
Okay. And 6 hours. Wow.
Yeah.
For you guys. Nice. Awesome. How long you be when you stay in the, so that's on a Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday.
Okay. And how long you gonna be around, Dave?
I'm gonna be in New York for about 6 days, I think. I've got it booked for 6 days. Yeah, so if anybody wants to hang out, go for a drink, hit me up. Yeah.
Yeah, you're saying that Jay's or no, or elsewhere.
He wants to stay somewhere nearby. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Close. Yeah.
Yeah, if anyone wants to get together in Manhattan or whatever, we're game. We'll go in there one night, have some drinks, do something, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna be here 6 days, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, David's never seen a real city before, so.
Yeah.
They only have those medieval taverns in England, I think.
Those medieval, right? And they have pints, right? Let's see.
Yeah.
So, bacon wrestling on steroids?
Potentially.
Okay. Awesome. Well, guys, awesome. I mean, anything you guys want to further divulge on, or as far as you guys?
No, just, we're standing on the shoulders of giants. The men have laid the ground for us. It's just up to us to hit the ground running now.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's great. And you guys, obviously, the whole thing with you guys are going to be giving credit to Terry, and I'm sorry, I forgot the other.
Don Rurick.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's fantastic that you guys are going to be, giving credit to them and, and their name and et cetera, which is a shame that that's not commonly practiced today,
Mm-hmm.
I think for those who aren't familiar with Don Rearick, he had a website for a long time, which was donrearick.com. It's no longer active, but if you would still like to see the contents that we learned from originally, you can still find that on the web archive. If you go to the web archive and you type in donrearick.com, you can still get that information if you're interested.
Yeah.
It's well worth looking.
Absolutely.
Don Rearick. DonRearick.com.
Yep.
Yeah.
REARIC.
You'd have to go through the web archive to get it, but yeah, it's still there.
Web archive.
Well worth the time. Yeah, well worth the time.
Wow. Of course, I mean, and is Terry still active teaching and etc.?
He was.
Okay.
Not sure what he's going to be doing in the future right now, but I'll keep people posted if they want.
And where's he located again?
He's in Texas right now.
Texas right now. Okay.
Yeah, he used to live in Colorado. He relocated maybe 2 years back, I think, or a year back.
Okay.
Terry does have a Patreon for anybody.
Yes.
That's a Patreon. Okay.
Yep, Weaselcraft.
His interpretation of Silat is bar none. It's nobody even comes close to how he applies his Silat.
Who do you learn from?
Oh God.
Or which
Who did he learn from?
Silat Zulfikari. He studied.
All right, Patreon.
Chimandi as well.
Chimandi. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. Silat Zulfikari is Terry's bread and butter.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but stellar things about Terry. So. Yeah.
Tremendous.
So Jason Renee is asking, are you guys talking about episode 355?
Always. I that's the first thing I think of when I wake up in the morning. It sets the tone for the day and it lets me know I'm on a mission.
355. Do you often find yourself pulling over, reflecting, etc.? And
I do.
See, I know it's not just me then, right?
No.
Awesome. Well, guys, hey man, I'm glad you. Great talk. I mean, I gotta tell you, I learned just a lot on the whole Japanese. What's most of us don't see, or perhaps, as far as was truly inclusive in some of those systems that I guess that perhaps is not being entirely shared over here.
Yeah.
I think Jason and I could probably do a whole podcast just dedicated to the lesser known aspects of the Japanese arts. There's a lot of information there that isn't out there.
That's just wow. That's a shame. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I'm just some of the things you guys were mentioning. It was news to me, which is which was wow. I would love that. But yeah, I'm. You know what? As long as we could. Let's do that. Yeah. You guys are just basically just talk on like we'll tie in some weapons just to make it appropriate for FMA discussion.
Yep.
Trained the Hawakan or the Hawakan Filipino tonfa, so we can always tie that in as well.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
All right, so I'm writing this down. Future episode. What's not being shown from the Japanese arts?
Yeah.
All right. Dave. Okay. And Jen, sounds like Wednesday nights is a good night, right?
It's cool.
Yeah. Works for me.
I mean, because we don't have to wait that long, really. I'm gonna check out the schedule. I mean, if something we can pop off in October, let's do it. I mean, like mid to late October, right? So
yeah, should be fine.
Yeah, if I know you guys are good on Wednesdays, we can certainly do. It's not going to be too late for you over there, Dave. If we do it,
11:15 right now.
So all right, not too. So we start at 5. Not too bad then. Okay.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
Can't you see you're keeping him from his beauty sleep?
I know.
He's got to be glowing for me.
I've actually got a heavy set girl waiting in my bed for me. So.
Well, I don't know. Could be this.
Strap a board across so you don't fall in.
Scumbags, right?
Blue oyster, see? I can't help it.
Yeah.
See, you made that. You made. See, that's all due to you, Dave. You made. If I was never exposed to that Mimi, I would have never seen.
Which one, the Chippendale?
Oh my God. That's
Dean's got to do a podcast on his Chippendales history.
Chippendale.
All those
Yeah.
bachelorette parties he worked in,
Yeah.
for the lonely ladies.
Yes, it was. I tell you, you want to talk about a grueling experience. I mean, just yeah. Still seeing a therapist over that. All those ladies, and yeah.
You'll
Hey, what about
need
that
one after March 8th too.
You would have to, yes. Hey, what happened to that sketch artist, Dave? That sketch artist, did he disappear?
I don't know what happened to that guy.
What did he do with that sketch
It was a good
artist?
rendition. It was a good rendition of you. It was
That
quite
sketch, that sketch. Uh-oh. I see another post. Yes. Oh my gosh, Dean. Lindsay is she's scared.
Yep.
Dean doesn't want just the bust out. No, definitely not, Sean. Yeah, so okay, let's do that. The Japanese, we have to do that.
Yeah.
I think that'd be so interesting. I know it'd be interesting for me. Awesome. We gotta do. I'm just making sure I'm not missing any final comments or questions. I see a new Mimi coming. Yeah. FMA podcast. Yep. And oh my gosh, awesome. All right, guys. Hey, man, this is fun, a pleasure. And folks that are watching, we'll be doing this again, just on the Japanese side of things. Awesome. Dave, it was finally great to finally meet you from afar.
pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
And Jay, as always, a pleasure, Jay.
Thank you, Dean. Appreciate coming on again.
Yeah. Hopefully next time we're going to straighten out the camera thing. So
yeah, I hope so.
We gotta get Lindsay on it. So
yeah. Yeah. Good luck with that.
And the chip and yeah, well that's gonna be a paid podcast, Lindsay. I'm sorry. I don't know if I could be doing that one just for free. I mean, I've given enough to this community. That's going to have to be so. All right, guys, you take care.
All right, have a good one.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care.
And that wraps up for 97. That was fun, man. There was a lot of good stuff there, especially the Japanese stuff, which we'll be doing on another one. Probably, I don't know, gotta check out maybe in a few weeks because I gotta make sure I clear the big 500 for Tom Sotis. And yeah, so maybe fit it before that though. But one way or another, we'll be doing it. Yeah. So who's next? Gonna try to get Maya came out with a new book, Solar Home. So I'm gonna try to get Maya on next week. We gotta bring back Ray Floral, and then episode 500, Tom Sotis. He says he wants to interview me for 500. So, and then Renee's supposed to get back to me on some women's stick fighters. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. Yeah. So, at any rate, we'll see where that goes. Tomorrow would be better, Phil. I gotta get off because I have to pick up one of the kids for 7. But tomorrow I'm pretty free, to be honest. Yeah. All right, all. We'll see you guys next time.